One of the questions I always asked myself before applying to Oxford was how much work does an Oxford student actually have to do? So in this week I thought I'd just show you exactly what a typical workload is like. Hello and welcome back to another week in the life. I'm currently a third year studying medicine at the University of Oxford now, and we are currently in week 4 of first term, so almost halfway through. I've actually been in Oxford for an incredibly long time because I had my research project, which is like 8 to 10 weeks, at the end of summer, and then I went straight into term. So yeah, it's a good 18-week term, but we're almost at the Christmas holidays. And I'll be honest, this year is much less intense compared to the first 2 years. So it's a nice change of pace. Like, for example, today I don't actually have any contact hours, so I'll just have a essay that I need to be doing for tomorrow, and I'll probably head into a library later today. But we also have Diwali dinner coming up, so some exciting things, but need to get my essay done first. So ideally I would have liked to finish this essay by the end of this morning, but I haven't, so I'm gonna have to finish that by the end of today, or before dinner at least. So I'm just heading to a library with some friends now. I'll be going to the Radcam, or I'm heading to the Bod because that's probably not as busy, so I'll get a seat. Yeah, it's actually a really interesting essay though, so I'm not too upset that I have to keep on reading about the topic. It's on space physiology, yeah, like how you can do experiments on Earth, so very interesting stuff. I don't think I'll do an essay on this in my actual exam, so it's kind of just one of those topics I'm doing for my interest. I don't really want to spend too much time on it, to be honest, so hopefully that gets done soon. But yeah, I'm just heading to the library now. I am currently in third year though, and I'll say the work massively varies between each year and also each degree. Either way, this week was quite an average week for me in terms of workload, so it's quite reflective of what you would expect. So the main form of work that I have to do is usually essays, which honestly was a bit of a surprise for me too when I was applying for medicine, thinking that's a very STEM subject, and suddenly having to do a lot of essays. Unlike any other university courses though, these essays don't count towards any final grade, but they do get marked and we get feedback on them during tutorials, which is our small group teaching. Although it does take some time to get used to, I'll say most people find their flow within the first couple of weeks, and you get just used to writing these essays on a weekly basis. So this morning I just started off my day by rereading the space essay that I just wrote. I did it while listening to the Interstellar soundtrack because that felt very fitting. But yeah, I think I'm ready to send that off, and then I've got a lecture, so gotta start heading soon. So this year is quite different for me because it's my research year or intercalated year, so it's very research focused and science based, which is actually quite a nice way to end preclinical, and next year I'll be entering clinical school. So that's why I actually don't have that many contact hours and just a lot more independent work to do. And this is just how the course is set out for all medical students at Oxford. It's also the reason why there's some medical courses which are 6 years as opposed to 5 years. So this morning's tutorial was actually my first tutorial for the year. It's kind of crazy that I'm almost halfway through and I've only had one tutorial, but it's because this year is so different, so we have to book our own tutorials compared to last year where we kind of have tutorials scheduled for us. So it's quite nice that we get to pick, when you want to do the tutorials and which topics you want to do them on. It just worked out that all of my tutorials are in the second half of this term. So I have one per week for the rest of this term, but in total I need to book 8 tutorials for the year, and I think I'm doing 5 this term. Bit unequal, but I think that should be fine. And I have my next tutorial next week, so I need to get back into the habit of doing weekly essays basically. So after my tutorial I met up with a friend at the Radcam and just got started with the next essay. Now I just have football coming up after dinner, so I'll get ready for that. So every day I do have dinner in hall, and it's just a great way to catch up with some friends and take a bit of a break. Usually most evenings after dinner are free for whatever you want to do. Sometimes if you have an essay deadline coming up, that means, doing some extra work in the evening. Today I had some football though, so it is very common for a lot of students to get involved in sports or other societies, so there's plenty of time to do that. You may have noticed one difference from my last week in the life is that I'm no longer taking a bike to lectures, which is just because my bike is currently out of action and I cannot be bothered to fix it, so I'm just dealing with the walk. But I will say Oxford is a very cycling friendly city, so it really does save a lot of time and a lot of people do it. One thing that seems to vary between person to person is actually how much time goes into each essay. I think I'm actually on the slower side of things, so I do spend a lot of time on each essay. Whereas I know some people who can do essays like 2 hours before the deadline and get it done in one sitting. So it's all up to personal preference really. I like to live by the philosophy of doing a little bit of work every day. That makes it seem a lot easier to me, so that's what I like to do. On this evening I also had Diwali dinner, which you might remember I went to last year as well. It was a lot of fun last year, so I obviously had to attend again. The menu was exactly the same as last year, but the food did improve. So today I actually had one lecture, but I ended up deciding not to go to it. I find that when I have one lecture, making the whole journey to the medical department is really not a great use of my time. My bike is currently out of use, it's broken, so I decided rather than going to the lecture, I would just get started on my essay that's due for Sunday now. And the lecture was quite low priority for me because it's not really a topic that I'm that interested in, or I don't think I'll write an essay on it in the exam. I'll just need to watch that probably at some point after the essay deadline. I'd rather get the essay done now. But yeah, I'm just heading to the college bar now because during the day it's open as a study space, so I'm just gonna work in there, get more of this essay done. So here I was just in the planning process, which usually just involves doing some reading, getting some background information about the topic, so I had a general idea of what I wanted to write in the essay. So I'll usually write some notes just so I know what to include, and then once I enter the writing stage, it just makes it a lot easier to follow a plan, and the writing then is a lot quicker. So while this vlog has been focusing on the amount of work I've been doing this week, I also want to emphasize, there is plenty of time to do other things outside of your work. So Saturdays are usually match days for football, so I'm always looking forward to Saturday, and here's a clip of me doing some terrible defending, but luckily my team has my back covered.
Ooh. Nice! Yeah, nice save! Yeah! Woo!
So it's now Sunday, and yesterday I had a football match, so that usually happens every Saturday anyway, so I usually plan my time not doing any work on Saturday, because most of the time I'm too busy on the day, so I can't really do much. But that means I have my essay to finish for today, which is actually due in today as well. So I'm quite tight on deadlines, need to get that done, but I've already got it started and just need to finish writing it up. Done all my reading for it and things like that. So should be done in time, but I'll head to a library to get that done. I'm noticing this year, I think it's because we have a lot more independent work that I'd rather go to a library to get my work done. I know in first year and second year, when there's so many contact hours, I'd rather just come back to my room and get work done. But this year, otherwise I'm just going to be living in my room. So I'd rather get out of the house for a bit and head to a library. So it's quite unfortunate. I made the rookie error of trying to go to the Bodleian on a Sunday morning, but I completely forgot that there's reduced opening hours during the weekend, so then I ended up having to just do a U-turn back to the college, and heading to a college library. College libraries are usually open for longer periods of time than the university libraries. Anyway, it never hurts to add a little walk to my Sunday morning, and it turns out my friend was in the college library, so it's a win. And once I had submitted that essay, there were some fireworks going on, so got to celebrate, watch some fireworks, and it was a nice way to end the week.